Now this ceiling fan I'm going to install happens to be a 52 inch in diameter. Okay, you want to look at that at the store, because if you want, like in a standard room, and I would call this a standard room, I would want a 52. I think they have them in 58 too. I'm not quite sure, but 52 is pretty much standard. They have them in 48 inches in diameter and also 42. So if we saw this, and if Momi really wanted this, and if it only came in 42, I would have said no, we don't need it. We don't want to put it in. We want something a little bit bigger because we want the air to be moving around in here. So we want something, you know, a standard size. So this one happened to be 52. If it was 48, that's kind of borderline. And if it was 42, absolutely not. 48, maybe. But those sizes are designed for smaller areas. Like if this was a 11 by 11 little bedroom or something, you could get by with a 48. Or if you wanted to install one in your bathroom, let's say, the ceiling fan. I've installed quite a few ceiling fans in bathrooms. You want a 48, depending what size your bathroom is, or if you got a smaller little area, maybe you want a 42. And I think they might even come 36 inches in diameter. You know, those are for small little bathrooms. So 52 is the way to go for this room. Of course, the first thing I'm going to do before anything, I'm just going to open this up and get my bearings, kind of read the directions on it and stuff. Yes, I look at the directions, I read them a little bit, get myself familiar. Not all ceiling fan installs go up the very same, depending on what types of things you have going on with it and stuff like that. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of get myself acclimated to this and pull this out and see. Oh, okay. I thought that was a ceiling fan itself. So I got just a little piece of carpet here. I want to put it right down on the floor and get everything mashed up or scratched on my floor and stuff like that. So I'll get this out and see. The ceiling fan, okay, some ceiling fan bases you can't just stand up. This one, look at that, I can stand it up, but some don't stand up, and so then I would take the styrofoam out, set the styrofoam down, and let it stand up all by itself. You know what I mean? And like I say, not all ceiling fans are created equal. Look at all these parts to this thing. And so I'll get all my stuff out, look at the directions, and remember on the handheld, on the remote, I said it's probably a handheld remote. I think most of them nowadays are the actual handheld remote. And see, it comes with a little plastic holder, and that plastic holder, you could screw that onto the wall, and you know, just for a staging. See this little plastic deal? I'll ask Momi if she wants that set up somewhere, and then you just kind of fit that down on there, you know, by the couch or something like that, or whatever. Or maybe you don't want it at all. Maybe we're not going to install that, and we'll just set this on the couch or on a coffee table or whatever. Okay. And most nowadays come with the handheld, but look on the boxes, because a few years ago, some were still like the old school with no handheld remote, and others came with the handheld remote. You'd have to read on the box, on the ceiling fan box, does it come with the handheld remote or not? Maybe you don't want the handheld remote, but most people nowadays, they do want them. And I was looking, that's funny, I was looking for the five ceiling blades, and I'm like, where are they? And I forgot, this one only comes with 3, and usually on one side or the other, they're a different color. This might be the same color all the way around. I'm going to leave that in there for now. Okay, and I'll look on my directions, and like I say, I'll kind of acclimate myself to this. And you know, if you've got a little sense in you, any handy type sense, I'm sure you can install a ceiling fan, okay? You can do it. You don't need to pay an electrician. If you didn't want to install this, and you want an electrician to come and install this ceiling fan, how much do you think an electrician would charge you? Well, of course, if you call 5 different professional licensed electricians, you're going to get 5 different costs. Or if you contact a handyman, but if you contact a handyman, maybe he doesn't have a license, maybe he's not insured, maybe he doesn't have his liability insurance, maybe all kinds of stuff. So if you're going to have somebody install this, you're going to want somebody who's licensed and who has their insurance all up to date and all that kind of stuff. He's going to come out, and if he sends his employee, you're going to have a trip charge and a van charge and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you could be facing $150 to $200 to install this. And you know, if you're going to do it that way, then if you have 2 or 3 ceiling fans, maybe he'll install all 3 ceiling fans for one price, and you'll get a better price than if you're going to just install 1 ceiling fan. You know, because he's already going to be out there, and he'll give you a better price. And maybe if you tell him, hey, I got cash instead of credit card, maybe he'll give you a break on that. Who knows? But save your money. Do it yourself instead. Now, I don't know if you were with me on the previous video, but the previous video was kind of a preview of me installing this ceiling fan and a couple other ones upstairs. Now, I have a ceiling fan upstairs in a guest room that I'm going to install that just had a light fixture up there before, and the light fixture has a dimmer switch on it, and I said, you know, we're not going to need the dimmer, and I didn't know if you could install a dimmer switch, leave the dimmer switch for your ceiling fan. But look at this. This is what I just saw in here. Here's what's acceptable for power. A light switch, and this is the old school light switch. Nowadays they have a paddle up, on, off, whichever. Here's what's not acceptable. A variable speed wall control. Okay, years ago, that's how you would do it. You could get a variable speed wall control for a ceiling fan, or here's another one that's not acceptable, dimmer switch. And they say that because sometimes they know that maybe you have an existing light switch, an existing light fixture, that you want to take the light fixture out and put a ceiling fan, and the light switch and the light fixture has a dimmer switch on there. No, that's not acceptable. Okay, and so we on ours we have just a paddle handle, so we're fine. And I'm calling the light switch over here a paddle light switch. These are standard nowadays. On, off. That's a single pole, not a 3-way dimmer switch or paddle handle. You have to make sure you have a single pole. And most ceiling fan setups are set up that way. I've never seen one where you have a 3-way switch where it's controlled somewhere else. But if you did something like that, it would still work. You know, but like I say, they don't usually have them set up that way. Okay. All right. So that's something to know right off the bat. And I wouldn't have known that had I not started just reading. Just read the stuff that comes with your ceiling fan. Don't try to be a he-man and say, I don't need to read any directions. I've installed 20 of these before. I don't need to do any of that kind of stuff. Well, it might give you some tips along the way of how they do things nowadays, okay? So don't forget, read those directions. Okay, I got it pretty much figured out. Read the directions, kind of looked at that. And it's kind of slick too. When I get ready to hook it up, I think I only have to hook up a white and black wire right there, and there's no remote control module. The remote control module and stuff is all interconnected inside of there. It used to be some have a big little rectangular remote control sensor that you have to hook up there on the wires and place it up in there. This one's slightly different. And so I don't think I have to do that. So that's kind of slick. So before I go up there, I want I want to look at these and I want to make a determination which one is which, but I'm pretty sure each one of these facing down should be off. Okay, and we know two of these go up to the fan, one goes to those track lights over there that have nothing to do with this project. Okay, but every so often an electrician will go and they won't look at this closely and have it installed where it's facing up. And I can see, okay, I can see on here, it's written top, right there. And I know all of those are facing up. Because sometimes if you're not careful, as you're installing a light switch like this, you might think, what difference does it make? But it does make a difference. See there? T-O-P. See? That way you know that these are installed in the right direction. This one you can hardly see because it's been painted over. You can see the P on there, see it? So I know those are all facing up. So I should have all those switches turned off right now. Okay? And so if I go up there and test out these wires, none of these wires should be on right now. Okay? And I'm just gonna, so I should be able to get up here and undo these wire nuts and know that there should be no power on here. I mean, if you're not an electrician, you want to make sure that your power is off. You don't want to do this with the power on, okay? And I kind of want to know which wire goes to where anyway. That's funny too. I put these yellow wire nuts on because that's what it came with, and then when I went to put the wire nuts on here just to kind of hold them in place, you know, for when I painted the ceiling and all that kind of stuff, the wire nuts wouldn't stay tight. So I rolled the edge of the copper wires over so that I could get the wire nut on there to hold. I don't know if I'm going to install with these same wire nuts. They came with some new wire nuts, and the new wire nuts are orange. And I think I'm going to use the orange wire nuts on here. But I'm just going to test this out for my own safety. Okay. And those are off. You would test a white to the black, white to the red, or a ground, you know, in sequence. So I know those are off right now, and I'm just curious to know which light switches go to where. I'm gonna hit the first one. I just clicked on the first one, and I don't know if that goes up to this ceiling fan or not. I'm guessing it does. I'm gonna guess it goes to this, and it does. This white wire and the black. My orange light came on. I don't know if you saw that. I don't know if my hand's in the way, but I can see it. Okay, so that first light switch is for the main power. And see, that middle switch, I just got the middle switch on now. Just the middle switch. I got everything else off or at the wall. That should be this red one, this red wire. And sure enough, it is. It's the red wire, okay, for the light kit on an old ceiling fan, okay? And that last switch is for the track lights. Okay, so now I've got everything turned back off. I got everything on the wall turned off, so I know I don't have any power. Well, any power that's going to hurt me up here at all, everything is off, okay? Now, if you want to go one step further, because some electricians say, hey Joe, you still have the power on. The white wire technically is a neutral wire that still has some sort of power going to it. Even though the breaker's still on, you should turn the breaker off. So if you really want to, you can turn the light switch back on figure that out and go back to the light, the service panel, and flip breakers until you get the right ones, okay? And so you can do it that way too. I'm choosing just to leave that light switch off, and I'm okay to hook this up.